retaining more than one additional customer. And then let's talk about all the new leads that can come in with less friction. And just when you spell it out and equate each customer to the lifetime value per month, it's a no-brainer. And so it's really easy for the agency owners to justify to their clients how this is going to make them money. Costs a little bit, yes, but it's ultimately going to either save or make them way more money than the cost.
Well, welcome everyone to another fantastic episode of our podcast, the High Level Spotlight, where we bring in top players in the space of SaaSpreneurship, agency owner, high level world, and we like to highlight some of our members in some of the cool things that they built out. So I have Chad here, and Chad did something pretty neat. He built an integration around Mindbody in that entire space, and obviously it wasn't an overnight success or anything, but what I could tell you is Chad is willing to share a lot of the trials and tribulations that he went through in building something out. And we'll talk a little bit more about the solutions that it brings and kind of highlight it. Chad, how did you find HighLevel? What's your story? How did you get into the world of business?
Yeah, well, for business, I mean, it goes way back. I got my MBA and had a computer science degree. And in those two disciplines, the business and the tech side just lent themselves really well to digital marketing once it started getting big, and automations. And I've always dabbled in writing custom code and things like that. So it just kind of all led to the ultimate customizable platform, which is HighLevel. Like when I found that, I'm like, oh, someone made the thing I've been dreaming about. It's perfect.
Absolutely. So how did you get into the mind body side of things? Like, were you working with clients? Like, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to invest my time and effort and money and go build this thing out? Help us understand that chapter, the first chapter.
Yeah, well, on that end, it was definitely more pragmatic, more based on listening to what I thought the market wanted. I had worked with lots of clients over time and built out custom solutions, and knew how to identify when there's a market need. And I was seeing so many people, especially in the high level group, saying, "Hey, is there an integration for Mindbody?" And for that first year or two where everyone was asking and there was no solution, or at least not a fully built out solution, I thought, well, I guess I'll do this. It was just that simple at first, really.
Yeah, interesting. So one of the things that I think you were talking about earlier is making sure you have a true market product fit and making sure you build out something there's actually demand or potentially usage from.
Yes.
Just help us understand that. What do you
So
mean?
I think my instincts were right. The demand was clearly there. The way I interpreted that demand was a little bit off the mark. So, how in marketing you create the solution for your avatar, you try to understand your avatar and fix their pain points and so forth. I thought my avatar was gym owners who use Mindbody for their own studio and who want to sync their appointments, basically. Like, that was the laser focus that I was going towards. And that's what we built. The product was catered to that. And then as soon as we put that out in the public and started to get feedback and started to have some customers come in, we found out that our true avatar was really agency operators who work with gyms and fitness studios, which was a good thing because we can, for the same amount of effort, land one agency owner who has 50 clients, and now we've got 50 licenses running instead of just the one for a similar amount of effort. But it did change the way we would want to approach the product. It's agency owners have slightly different needs than the single operator of a gym. And so that was an eye opener. And if we had realized that from the get go, we could have saved a little time and made things a little more suited to that and changed our messaging a little bit, our outreach. We would have been targeting that user instead. Fortunately, they all hang out in the HighLevel group where most of them came from early on. But yeah, that was a revelation to us.
Yeah, this is interesting because this is a common thing we get from a lot of people that built out a lot of products around HighLevel is understanding who they're building what for, in what setting, and what kind of solution. Can you help us understand the product itself a little bit? What exactly did you build? How does it help a gym or an agency that's working with the gym? Give us an overview of the product itself.
Yeah, well, the core offering hasn't strayed that much from our original intent. We allow the user to sync their Mindbody account with their HighLevel account, or individual Mindbody location with the individual sub account. And initially, we were really focused on the calendar sync, and that's definitely there. You can do a two-way sync. So you can book in Mindbody, have it show up in HighLevel, or book in HighLevel, show up in Mindbody, and handle classes, appointments, all that, any type. But what another thing we learned from working with our real clients is a lot of the locations, they're not that interested in the calendar sync. They're more interested in getting the vital data out of Mindbody into the contact record for HighLevel so that they can segment and target and really take that power into, or that information to give them power for outreach in HighLevel, where it's much better suited to use that information. So over time, we've created 25 or more custom fields that are all populated with data from Mindbody in real time. And so now people know as soon as someone makes a purchase, for example, or book a trial, or as soon as their status changes and their account goes inactive or a payment's declined, like all this could be used, any of those data points can be used as triggers to do some pretty powerful stuff thanks to what HighLevel enables in their workflows. So that has been huge. We have a lot of clients who don't even turn on the calendar sync. They're just doing the contact sync because that's enough power for them. That more than justifies getting our program. So we've put a lot more effort onto that side.
Yep. So how does the onboarding work? What does success look like to you guys? Is it through the agencies themselves, or do you do direct success?
Well, we do still have some direct clients. We're not going to turn someone away. But when it's an agency, it's a little different. So they get an agency account, and similar to HighLevel, they can create sub accounts and link each sub account to the HighLevel sub account. So currently, everyone who you can sign up, get a free trial for 2 weeks. We offer a 1 hour onboarding call where we can kind of hold your hand and walk through the setup, because it is a little bit complex in certain points if you want to leverage everything. And then you can just put it through its paces, try it out, and then just continue as long as you want. And of course, we've got a support system built in, ticketing and real-time chat type support and knowledge bases. So we try to be there for our customers. But yeah, that's kind of how the onboarding works.
Fantastic. So two things that I want to make sure we address is help us understand how agencies leverage this for sales or prospecting. And number two, help us understand how they make money off of this.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things, hitting the last one first on making money, with agencies, when you're selling our product to an agency who is buying a license for like 50 locations or more, the hit to the pocketbook's a lot bigger than someone who's just buying a single license. And we acknowledge that. So we created a volume discount where, at scale, an agency pays about half what the individual studios they work with are paying. And we always talk to them in onboarding about how they can. We're charging them that, of course, similar to HighLevel. It's pretty much white label, and then they can charge whatever they want. And then we talk through how to make sense of that for their client. And one thing I always point out is, even if you put aside all the lead gen stuff, all the possibilities that can open up from, quickly booking a new lead through HighLevel and having it sync to Mindbody, that's all pretty obvious. But I take that out and say, forget all that. Just let's talk retention, with the abilities to see the data of your clients, your existing customers in real time, and know their pain points and know what's going on with them in HighLevel, and have automations ready to engage and help solve those concerns. Excuse me. What are the chances that in a given month you might prevent an existing customer from leaving because you're more on top of the data? And what is a customer worth to you? And if one customer is worth more, the monthly value of a customer is worth more than the cost of the software, that alone justifies the extra expense. And then what are the chances that you might be retaining more than one additional customer? And then let's talk about all the new leads that can come in with less friction. And just when you spell it out and equate each customer to, the lifetime value per month, it's a no-brainer. And so it's really easy for the agency owners to justify to their clients how this is going to make them money. Costs a little bit, yes, but it's ultimately going to either save or make them way more money than the cost.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chad, I'm sure similar to what we see, you might see a couple of patterns, right, among agencies that are very successful versus the ones that are just don't move the needle quite often, and that's for multiple reasons. Can you help us understand what a successful agency looks like versus not so successful when it comes to working with gym owners or even Mindbody? Like, what is the big difference between someone who's scaling versus someone
Yeah.
who's not?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen, I'll give my perspective at least, because we've worked with a bunch of them, and some come and go and don't really seem to thrive. And some, I look at them, they start with 10 studios. And next thing I know, 6 months later, they've got 50. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And the pattern that I see that's the most common thread is systems. Like, the thriving agencies have systems in place. They've got good onboarding flow. They've got a really solid snapshot. We offer a snapshot that's pretty good, but it's never been meant to just use it out of the box. It's meant to be customized and integrated within their own snapshot. And the best agencies are doing that. So they've got a custom built snapshot that they can hand to their clients, and their onboarding shows them how to use it. And they've got support in place to help them when they need it. And that's the ones that I see growing consistently.
And the ones that are not thriving, what are the mistakes that you see them make? And I'm laughing deep down inside because the same thing we see inside HighLevel. There are agencies that within 2 weeks they'll get to 100 SaaS customers, and they just barely started SaaS, and barely know marketing, but they understand how to be aggressive and fulfill something. And you see folks that are not thriving, but they are high-level experts that's been drowning in workflows for like 4 years, and they haven't moved the needle, but they're in some sense just kind of hiding behind the workflows. What are the things that you see among the not so thriving agencies? What are the patterns there?
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen that. And I think, speaking for myself at least, I've definitely been there too. Like, it's a really easy thing to get stuck in. You get a analysis paralysis, and you're like, I have to make this perfect before I let the world see it. So I've been there. But that's definitely part of it. The ones who are always building and not implementing, not really putting it out there, not doing the actual outreach, the sales and the outreach is really the linchpin of everything. If you don't have a good sales message and a good ongoing outreach plan where you're doing something every day, you're just not going to grow. And the ones that really struggle, it feels like they're reinventing the wheel every day. Like each customer, they're doing something a little bit different, or maybe customizing it for every customer. And on the surface, that seems like great service, right? But it's just not scalable. So the ones who really succeed have built something that's scalable and repeatable, and that allows them to train VAs to offload a lot of the work, and then they can focus on the more important stuff like the marketing and the sales, and that just makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Do you think they need to have an elite product to go to the market? Or can they go with like a minimum viable product to get out there?
Oh my gosh, yeah, if only you knew what our product looked like behind the scenes when we did our first spotlight with Chase a couple years ago. Like, it was held together with duct tape and baling wire. Like, well, I was just hoping it would work live on the demo, because we got it ready, and it was a minimum viable product. But we knew people were anxious for it, and we were pretty open with our early customers. We're like, here, this is a beta product, but we know you probably want it, so work with us and we'll make it better in real time. So absolutely, you do not have to have a polished perfect product when you go to market.
Awesome. Well, when it comes to this whole experience of building out an integration, speak to those that potentially are building out integrations in other spaces. It may not be healthcare, may not be gym, but like speak to those development minded folks that are trying to create a bigger solution on top of HighLevel. What are the mistakes you've made that you can share with them? What are some simple takeaways that avoids, hundreds of thousands of dollars in development?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, circling back to the one I mentioned already, spend a little more time understanding who your true avatar is, who your customer is that you're trying to reach, and take maybe do an ask campaign, a survey of sorts, where you ask them what they really want. And the people who you're hearing ask for the product, reach out to them and say, hey, what would really make the ideal product for you? What are your pain points, and what would be the best solution that would make you happy? If we had done that, we could have saved several months, going down the wrong path. And then the other side of it is use the HighLevel resources for developers that are there for you. They've got a Slack channel. They've got lots of good documentation. It's getting better all the time. And just get comfortable with that community. There's so many people who are within HighLevel and just other developers who are willing to help out. It's just been amazing. And don't be afraid to ask questions. When you have something you're not sure, hey, will this even work, or is this supported, and you can't quite find the answer, just ask. Someone will save you a bunch of time if you're willing to ask. And then the only other thing I would say is, if you are a smart person who understands like the product that you want, you have a clear vision, but you're not like super solid at coding, don't let that hold you back. You can find someone who knows how to code. And the real superpower is knowing how to build a product. That's harder. I mean, if every coder, everyone who knows how to code knew how to build a product, we'd be flooded with brilliant products. But most coders just don't have that skill set. They're not compatible. So don't sell yourself short if you're like, I have all these great ideas, but I just don't know how to code. Find someone who knows how to code, work with them, and just be really clear on what you want them to build, and work closely with them, and you can build a solution without really knowing that much how to code.
Fantastic. So before we close out, how can agencies find you? How can they jump on a trial? Tell us a little bit about where they should go to find more about the solutions.
Yeah, well, they can just go right to our main page, which is autogration.co. From there, they can sign up for a trial or book a demo. And I do every demo myself. I do the onboarding. I like to have that hands-on, because I'm still getting that customer feedback loop. So that's where it all starts.
Well, Chad, we appreciate you jumping on a quick spotlight session. I know it's been a couple of years, and we know that you guys are thriving, doing really good work around the agency space as well as for the Mindbody users directly. So congrats on that. If you get a chance, I hope to see you and meet you at the Level Up Summit in Dallas. If not, no worries. But either way, man, we're excited to see your journey kind of progress.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Paulson. This has been great.
Okay, have a good rest of your afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. You too.